So much of communist and Marxist thought is based on this idea of the primitive accumulation of wealth. According to Marx and Engels, it was a primitive thing to accumulate wealth, and that you should be more like Marx and Engels and go to the bar, run up a bar tab that you can never repay, get drunk, drink absinthe, and just be a lying, conniving swindler. That's what Marxism is burn up everything you got, waste all your money, stay drunk all the time, don't take a bath, smell so bad that people remember you by your smell, because that's what a lot of people describe Karl Marx as, just walking filth. Anyway, this whole concept of communism and Marxism is based on the idea that the accumulation of wealth is primitive. But if you actually take the time to study history, the reason there's accumulation of wealth is because every so often you have famines and droughts and have a year where it's a rough season and you don't get as much as you would like. Kind of like we've had here this year. We've had a rough year. But when you have these years, people go without. People go through starvation. People die from starvation. It's fairly common. We've got a lot of people have blood on their hands for their really, really screwed up ideology. I would hate to be President Xi this winter. Oh, I feel sorry for him when his people realize that he's starving them to death from his incompetence. But, oh man, I'm sorry for you, President Xi. I'm really sorry for you. But anyway, Marxist ideology is based on the belief that accumulating wealth is primitive. But if you study your history a little bit, the whole concept of nobility came from warring tribes, basically. And during these drought times, if you were the one guy who saved something up, all of the raiders and nomadic people would basically become like Vikings or heathens, as some people have said, barbarians. They'd come and steal your stuff if you built up too much. And this has been a problem throughout all of history, where barbarians come to steal people's stuff. Like if somebody builds up something good, barbarians come and try to take it. That's what a barbarian is somebody. It's based on the story of Cain and Abel, where basically a group of people don't have as much. They see another group of people that's rich and living well off, so they think, oh, well, if we can just take that from that person, we'll be good off too. But Rome wasn't built in a day. According to this accumulation of wealth, according to Marxist theory, there's no purpose for accumulating wealth. But over time, kingdoms started to develop. A class of people they considered nobility began to develop, where they were smart enough to realize that they needed to save for the future, because you never know when a hard time might come. You never know what the future holds. That's why you save for the future. Well, according to Marxist theory, there's no reason to save for the future. Be like Marx. Drink all your money up at the bar, use your best friend Engels, take every dime, dollar, penny you can off your best friend, and never do what your friend asked for. That's the type of person Karl Marx was. Like, he was not a man of his word. There was nothing honorable or I don't get why there'd even be a Marxist nation, unless there was something sick, twisted, and sinister behind it, where I guess powerful people promoted it, maybe for whatever reason. I'm not even going to get into that. But over time, people realize that if we accumulate wealth, then when there's a hard season, where the crops don't produce much or animals die out, if we're the group of people that save up and save for the future, then everybody's going to have to come to us to get what they want during the hard season. Then we gain a tiny little bit of leverage. Not much. You treat people fair, but over the years, over the decades, over the centuries, the little bit here, little bit here, little bit here adds up. You keep building up more and more and more and more over time. But the more you build up, the more of a threat barbarians are. This is just history. Barbarians come to break in and steal. That's what the Bible teaches. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon this earth. Well, I mean, where moth and rust does destroy. But it's just a known fact that barbarians will come and take your stuff. That's what barbarianism is trying to take other people's stuff that you have no right to. It's called being a thief. But the whole concept of Marxism is based on there's no reason to save for the future. It's primitive to save for hard times. Okay? Man, like, it's crazy that, like, you've got countries like China where the whole country's been brainwashed to think it's primitive to save for the future, and they're like sucking the world dry of resources. They're having to go to South America just to go fishing because they got so many people to feed, because their government's so corrupt, so backwards, so just, I hate to say it. I mean, I hate to say anything bad about China because I like China, but they never realize there's a reason to save for the future. And they don't even believe in Christianity. So, like, there's not even people who are going to care for Chinese people when they go through starvation. And, because, I mean, Marxism guarantees starvation. Ask any person who's come from a Marxist country. Marxism, communism guarantees starvation. It was designed to cause starvation. Read Karl Marx's poetry. That man wanted nothing but to make people suffer. Just read his poetry. I mean, Marxism was not meant to bring anything good to this world. It was meant to make people suffer. And, oh man, I feel sorry for President Xi. I feel real sorry for that man when he wakes up and realizes that, like, he's a communist. And when he understands what it means to be a communist, God, his people are going to be upset. But the truth hurts sometimes. But no, there's nothing primitive about saving for the future, because you never know when a hard time's coming. But we've got this whole world religion called communism, Illuminism, the new world order, where Freemasonry started a new world order, then the Illuminati tried to hijack that and built it on communism, and like this Illuminati stuff, they created communism. So I think the Illuminati is going to have hell to pay come Judgment Day. They're really going to have some hell to pay. But I'd hate to be one of them in this day and age. But yeah, there's nothing primitive about accumulating wealth to save up for the future. Because you never know when somebody's going to break in and steal your stuff. And you never know when there's going to be a dry season. You never know when a famine's coming. You never know when the end times events are going to start. Yeah, and they don't even believe in the Bible over there in China. I feel sorry for those guys. I really do. But, yeah, there's nothing primitive about accumulation of wealth. The way it works, you save up. And then once you save up, a bunch of guys will be real loyal to you, because they know you got the money. You save up. They trust in your word because you do things the right way, or you do the right thing the right way for the right reasons. God blesses you. You save up and you build a circle of loyal people around you because they trust you, because they know you're doing the right thing. And over time, they benefit just from being close to you, just from following you, just from taking your advice and using it. Just from following your lead. It's not that you're ruling over people. It's that people are following you because they trust you and they know that you're leading them in the right direction. And the people at the bottom, the people who don't really have any understanding, don't know what's going on, they don't read, they don't write. The people at the bottom never know what's going on, and they don't have enough understanding to understand what's going on at the top. But now, I guess something America didn't understand is how corrupt Europe must have been when communism first started. And I think when we go back and look at history and compare notes, things weren't exactly how they looked when you really start comparing what things look like from different countries. But communism, it's the most backward system ever. Like here in America, we got this saying called, be sure to save for a rainy day. Because you never know when it's going to rain. And then you never know when it's not going to rain. But anyway, people would save up wealth. Then they'd gather a group of people who were loyal to them. Because they knew that the noble would provide for them. They'd always have something saved up. They'd always trade with a neighboring nation. And this led to cities being developed, where essentially the smartest group of people would rise to the top, and they'd build cities. They'd develop kingdoms and castles. And it always had this pattern of the smartest people rising to the top. The smartest people tend to rise to the top. And very much, you also have to have a good work ethic. If you don't have a good work ethic, the only way you make it to the top is by scheming and conniving and conspiring with other corrupt people to try to take from the nobles, the people who have done the right thing the right way for the right reason. But eventually, like with nobility, they'd build up a circle around them of people where it's people they'd trust that followed their lead and would defend the person. And then they'd build up circles underneath them and you build. It's a top-down approach, but at the same time, you got to have, the bottom up. You've got to be doing better or have better ideas than the people at the bottom. You've got to have a higher ethic than what everybody else is doing. You got to have more knowledge than what everybody else is working with. And when you got all the right pieces to the puzzle, then you just start building. You just start doing the right thing, the right way, for the right reasons, and everything else comes together. At least when you don't have barbarians after you trying to take your stuff and mess up your bank account and kidnap you, steal your stuff, all that. But it's just ridiculous that, like, all these people think communism is a good thing when communism, the whole concept, is based on the belief that saving for the future is stupid. Yeah, making sure you've got something to eat tomorrow is stupid if you're a communist. Like, there's nations like China and Cuba who really say if you prepare for tomorrow, you're an idiot. And their leaders leading people like this. Better not prepare for tomorrow. And, man, that's so backwards. That is so backwards. That's barbarianism. A communist is a barbarian. I'm sorry, but truth hurts.